Hey everyone, I'm Dave with Soul-Fragments Lapidary. I am just outside of Salem, Oregon. I've been doing lapidary work for a few years, and I have a lot of equipment that you can't see here. This is a working shop, so no pretty little counter to do stuff on. This is something I wanted to take a minute because what I have here I've been waiting on for the better part of 3 years. So about almost 3 years ago, I was talking to Sherman at Highland Park Lapidary. And I found out that they were designing their own line of rock tumblers, which is how I got started in lapidary. So I have both the Tumblers, the lower tone. I also have Diamond Pacific. I have rotary. I have vibratory. I've done quite a bit of tumbling over the last few years. I got started in this because my dad, who did a lot of lapidary for a lot of years, couldn't do it anymore, didn't want to do it anymore. And he asked me if I wanted some equipment he had. I said absolutely, because I've been wanting to get into it for so long. So I have a lot of equipment that you can't see here. Some of it really old equipment, some of it brand new equipment. My first cabbing machine, you can't see it here, it's off to my left here, is an old Cabmate single wheel cabbing machine that actually was a really great piece of equipment made by Graves Company. But you take the wheel off and you put another wheel on, you pull the blade off, you have to change the tables. I did that for a while and decided I needed something, so I have a 6-wheel 8-inch Easy Cab sitting back behind me over here. I have stuff as old as 73 years old. I just sold my 14-inch slab saw. I have a newer Highland Park instead. I just didn't need the 14-inch anymore, and so someone else is enjoying that now. I have a Griffin lapidary flat lap sitting over on across the counter across from me that's probably... It's the better part of 40 years old. It still works very well. I have I have actually 2 of the Highland Park trim saws. I have their 10-inch, I have their 16-inch slab saw. I have all kinds of equipment. So I kind of like being able to look and say, okay, this is what has worked well, this is what hasn't worked well. So far, Highland Park, the equipment that I've bought from them, between their customer service and the equipment itself, I've had really good luck with them, and they've always taken care of me. So, and don't get me wrong, I've had things that when I got it, there was something wrong, usually a shipping problem, but they've always taken care of me. So then when I found out that they were going to do this new rock tumbler that they had coming out, in 2021, I got to announce in Rock and Gym magazine in an article that I wrote for them that Highland Park was going to put these out, and I've been waiting. So they've been in pre-production for a long time. They've been doing some testing. They wanted to make sure that whatever they put out was going to be as good as anything on the market. So there are some features about this one that are a little bit different than the lower tone, the Tumblers. Some people are using the Chicago Electrics that you buy at Harbor Freight. And for a beginning tumbler, you know, sometimes you get what you can afford. I'm not a fan of them. A lot of people use them. I have a friend, Josh Jr., he has several of them that he has had for several years. He knows how to work on them and keep them going. One thing Highland Park wanted to do was have a rock tumbler that out of the box, you didn't have to do any adjusting on. Everything was ready to go. You don't have to adjust the belts. And this is where some of those new features come in. So let's take a look here. I've already got it out of the box. And matter of fact, the one thing I haven't done is I'm really big on everything being nice and shiny. So I didn't get to shine that one up yet. But one thing, this is right out of the box, and I'll show you what it came in. So it's really well packed. So they don't have one of those pretty packages like the Lortone and the Tumblers come in with the pictures and all the fancy stuff on it. They packed this thing for shipping so that it could not be damaged. And they did a good job of it. That set in there so tight that there was no movement, no play anywhere. So one of the things when I took them out, the first thing I noticed was that the thumb screws on these are not made out of aluminum. They are heavy brass. And Highland Park actually machines these things themselves right in their own factory for these tumblers. So standard feature on their tumbler now, brass thumb screw to fit on the top. And of course this works just like the Tumblers and the lower tone do. You take the thumb screw off. Instead of a stainless steel, they anodized their lid. It looks nice. It's a little bit more rust preventive. Pull that off of there. So it comes off. A really good sturdy rubber drum here. I like the looks of this. It works just like the Tumblers and the Lortone do, so it's the same basic design. You put this back in here. Of course, you want to make sure when you're tumbling, you actually clean that track out right there so you don't have grit, and that it fits down tight. You don't get a leak somewhere. You simply put it back together. So this works just like the standard market types do. But I do like that brass knob, very sturdy. One of the things that I noticed also is these brass knobs, of course, they're grooved, and they do have a guide that brass knob sits in, and they fit pretty snug in there, so you're not going to get any movement back and forth out of it when you set those back in it like that. So really nice design and a good job that they did putting those together. I'm going to set those back here. So when I look inside, now this is heavy. This probably weighs the better part of 5 pounds. It's a heavy chassis. So this is made out of 304 stainless steel, which is a really good grade. For most people, you will never get rust on this, or if you do, it's because water has sat in a place for a while, and it's kind of an oxidizing rust, and you can wipe that off, clean it a little bit, and it will disappear. So the guides and the rollers are the standard style. They feel good. They fit tightly. There are places where you can take them loose there, but they do not have the same style of adjustment as what some of the others do. Now you will notice that there's something here, and I'll show you what that's all about. So Highland Park did something that no one else on the market has done yet. Right here, you have this adapter. So this is I believe it was a 24 volt DC motor in this, and it is direct drive. So when I open this chassis up, we're not going to find a belt and a pulley in there that need to be adjusted. This motor will never run hot like your standard 110 volt with the fan and the other style on them do. They're not going to get hot like those do because this is DC and not AC current. So I'm going to take these 2 screws out of here. I haven't seen inside of this. I just took them out of the box. I've not been inside here yet to be able to take a look. I'm kind of excited. I know what it is. I've talked to them several times about the design, but I have not been privy to actually taking it apart and looking inside. So, and as you can see, Highland Park, they're really good. They have a nice logo. They've put it in the red. It matches the top of their drum. My saws, the other equipment I have, has the same logo on all of their equipment. I think it's a really nice looking logo. Doesn't make the equipment work any better, but it is nice looking. So I'm hoping I can get this up where you can see inside of it. So when you open up this chassis, you have your controller here, and this is the direct drive motor. So when you start this up, this doesn't have a belt that needs to be adjusted. It's not going to stretch. It's not going to slip. When you plug this in and turn it on, it is going to start this thing with as much oomph as you can get out of a regular saw that is direct drive as well. So that is the intention behind it. It will pull whatever load that you put on here. It's just immediately going to start and begin turning. So one thing I haven't done yet, I haven't even got to plug them in and try. And I'm not sure I have room up here in all of my connectors, but let's find out. But I'm going to take this apart. Let's undo this right here. Everything they've done so far, I'm very happy. The welds look nice on them. I don't see anything that gives me any reason not to love this. The chassis on this thing is so much heavier than either the Lorton or the Tumblers that I have, and I have several of them. Just a really well put together chassis, very heavy duty. This should last for many, many years. You do on this side over here, you have a standard 2.5-inch fan for heat. Not that it generates very much. Let me see here. Let's plug this in and see if I have enough room up here on my bars to be able to get this in. And I'm hoping now you can see and you can hear this instead of my dog going in and out of the door over there making all of that noise. But you can see now that this roller is turning right here. So I'm going to disconnect this. I should be unplugging it from up here, but right now for what I'm doing, it's easier to do it this way. And I'm going to set the drums on here. Or at least the one. We need the chassis back together to have the guide for the other drum. So let's put this back on here right quick. I'm just going to set it there just like that. Hopefully this will sit in place when I do this. And we're going to plug this back in. And immediately those drums start rolling. And they will do the same thing. Now each one of these is considered a 3-pound drum, so you're going to have a 6-pound capacity on this particular one right here. They don't even have enough torque that I even worry about having to move that as far as what it does to the chassis itself. This chassis is just so well built. I'm loving what I'm seeing here. So what I will be doing next, I'm going to take this and I'm going to set it in where I have all of my equipment that I use for tumbling. I am going to load this and I am going to roll it for about 6 weeks straight. I'm not going to worry about it. I'm just going to put grit in it. I'll put 60/90 in. I will roll it for 6 weeks. I'm not going to worry about the stone that's in there. I want to find out about the durability of this machine. Now, they have well tested this machine. The idea of coming up with a direct drive motor was to solve some issues just like everyone else had with the heat, with the other models and the other brands, that they get so hot. I have actually heard of a couple of them catching on fire. We have a small autism charity that we do called Rock Tumblers for Autism that we do on Facebook. And years ago, I bought a lower tone for a young man who has autism, and his rock tumbler had quit. And so we raised money, and that's how we got started. We raised money, we bought him a new dual 3-pound lower tone rock tumbler. That was it's pretty close to 5 years ago that we did that, I guess. Here, I don't know, 6 or 8 months ago, I got a message from the young man's mother that thing had smoked, and they thought it was going to catch on fire. And they do get a lot of heat, so a lot of times what they do with those, they will either take this plate off and set it aside, which is what I do on my tumblers and my lower tone both, or you drill holes in them so that they get extra air. But those motors are designed, they do run hot. Most of the time, you don't have a problem. I've seen those motors last 30 and 35 years. But to negate that heat, because in today's manufacturing, you don't get the same quality that they made 30 years ago in a motor or in a chassis. Highland Park wanted to have the quality that you got 30 years ago, was their intention behind this chassis design, the 304 stainless steel, the direct drive motor. They had a young lady who was working for them who one day said, well, I have an idea. Why don't we use a direct drive motor? They thought it was a great idea. They put it into the testing facility, and that's what you're going to get. And again, I like that because that is DC. You're not going to create all of that heat. So I am going to go and I'm going to load these. And as soon as I've rolled them for 6 weeks, I might even make some intermediate and put some clips together just to see how they're doing. I am going to get these rolling, and we will see how they come out in a few weeks. I appreciate you coming to watch. I hope this video is informative for you. This is the first time I've done anything like this, so I'm hoping to do some more of them with some other equipment, especially the stuff with Highland Park. I'm really happy with their equipment, and I have some more on order that I'm going to be doing with them. So I'll get these rolling, and I hope to see you all again soon. I appreciate it. Thank you, everybody. Again, I'm Dave, and I am with Soul-Fragments Lapidary. I just got my page up and running. You can find me at soulfragments.net. Don't have anything listed yet, but you can see some of the work that I've been doing, and hopefully in the future I'll have things on there that you can come and see. I appreciate it. Thank you.